Wesley Peters. I am the sole representative of the name Kenneth Wesley Peters, and doing business as Kenneth Wesley Peters. Representative also of the Outlaw Group. That's AltLaws, Outlaws. And we study and theorizing on linear aspect of the constitutional side of law and the actual law, not the above ground civil law that's being acted and administrated and executed by the government. Just to give a disclosure before I begin, my explanation is I am the author of this recording. As you can see, my face is in the video camera as we speak. All words, all sounds, any frequency vibration that's coming off of the walls and in this facility are owned, and I have the rights to, and all reproduction or recording of this videotape is prohibited by me, the author, Kenneth Wesley Peters, and including, not limited to, print rights. So, for the ground for which I stand, all the way down through the earth and out into the stratosphere, from the north polarity down to the south polarity and back to the north, all rights are reserved. This video by the author, that's me, Kenneth Wesley Peters. Also, I want to also state in disclosure that I'm not a lawyer. I'm not licensed to practice in law. Do not have a law license to practice law. Anything that I say on this recording is simply my opinion, not necessarily a fact. And we're discussing theory right now today. So therefore, anybody who is want to point out facts, we would just say that a fact is a fact until proven otherwise. Also in science, when there is no fact to hang your hat on or to stand on, one must use common sense. And in science, once is random, twice is a coincidence, and 3 times is a pattern. And Quinn Michaels made reference to that. I think it's a good reference, or good leg to stand on, due to the fact that it's a 3, a trinity, and 3 is a magic number. So 3 times in science makes sense to me. We will be seeing a pattern. Now, here's one correlating example of the science of the Torus field, which is the basis of the law seen in the religious and cult eye of those who exist in the upper echelons of society, who are in the position of control, and these people are the international bankers and the investors all around the planet, and the controllers of government, the major corporations and owners of these corporations, and those who run the markets internationally. Right up there at the top are very few, and it is our theory, because we're not at the top, so therefore it is our theory that they are worshiping self-generating energy which is coming from the example of the Torus field traveling through the earth and around the earth, giving energy to the earth, electromagnetic energy that is self-regenerating. It is the reincarnation of this energy that is we're using as an example of a real life human experience that is taking place on the planet in the prison system. And the prison system, here's the example, what you see is wall-to-wall Negro, and the reason why is because of the high concentration of melanin in this pigmentation of the darker beings, humans, and the other two melanins in the human system. You could say that, in theory, you get more energy conservation or more gathering of energy in a particular body or battery in the darker melanated people. This is our theory as to why, in general, you see mostly dark complected people. Even in the tribe itself, you got light and dark. You see more dark complected people, and they will attest to this. And if you're going to keep it real, you just basically keep it real. If you go in there, what you see is wall to wall dark complected people. We like to refer to them as the purple people, to be honest with you. The most highly melanated tend to look purple. And this is not a condemnation, but an appreciation for those who are of the darker complexion. And not only that, it is believed by us that at the highest levels of the upper echelon society, that these people are desired more than any other. These are the most desired people, mainly for use of consumption of their energies, and to basically, for lack of a better word, to be dined upon. The prison system is full of people who are compacted in a tight space, just like the riddle that I wrote. In the prison there's a cell, and in the prison there's a jail, and inside the jail are batteries of cells of fellows who failed. And that is exactly the example that I'm giving to you as to what's going on. And the prison system is not a reform system in the United States. It is a reincarnation of energies and entering into the prison and out of the prison and back in again. Okay, and during the entire time that this is taking place for each individual who are being recycled through the prison system, commerce is taking place. This is what a lot of people don't see, they don't understand. Gene Keating did a great write-up on prisoners and their bonds, and explained this in quite detail as to how the housing market is being supported directly by the mortgage-backed securities. Mortgage-backed securities are basically the bonds for these prisoners who are then bundled into securities. Those securities are put together as mortgage-backed securities for the housing industry. So what props the housing industry up pretty much, not only in the United States, but every industrialized country in the world, are the prison bond system, is the prison bond system. This is a prime example of what happens with the torus field because life enters in divergence. There's a bottleneck point where energies meet, negative and positive. You can call it an explosion, a lightning strike that takes place down from the north polarity through the earth into the south polarity. Uh, uh, and out and around and back in again. This is a recycled energy, self-regenerating energy. Uh, we believe that at the top of echelons of society that these people are being worshipped, that this system of Torus system is worshipped as the settler of, let's say, in law or in trust. You need a three parties to have this trust, and this was debated as well. um, their premise, their justification for how they execute law in this country and around the world in industrialized countries um, is in the science of the solar system and the science of the torus field and the science of the sun. So we believe that the torus field, what they're looking at is an energy that is regenerating and providing, it is the settler of the trust agreement or the creator of the trust agreement. The creator is creating the energy, through a recycle process. So there you have your settler or you have your creator. Once you have this creation, the sun itself is in representation of the trustee or the Messiah who guides the beneficiary, who provides to the beneficiary the necessary light or sunlight that nourishes the system, nourishes the body, gives the body the necessary nutrients and energy that it needs to perform and function. Uh, so basically, this is what's going on. And the sun itself, the Helios, the provider of warmth, sunlight, so that one can actually see objects and giving the human eye uh, uh, clarity, moments of clarity, and to be able to see when the sun comes up and the sun rises, the plant life rises with the sun. The flowers, they open up to the sun. Uh, Plants, leaves tend to fold out and up to the sun, reach up to the sun. Roots from plants grow towards the sun. This is the natural cycle of life on planet Earth and in planet Earth, inside the Earth. Okay, so there you have a Messiah or a provider of services, which represents the trustee. Of course, the beneficiary then, the big three, the beneficiary would be the life on Earth. Not just human life, but all life on Earth is being provided its day via the sun. Without the sun, life would cease to exist on the Earth. So the beneficiary would be life on Earth, life on Earth, benefiting from the properties of the sun and light. Uh, there's your Trinity, there's your trust, and in many instances, or I'll take that back. Some very reputable individuals in the conscious community online are saying that the Constitution is a trust agreement. We tend to agree with that over here. And an example would be to tie it into the science of the solar system and the Torus field and electromagnetic energy is the Constitution, being that the founding fathers are the settlers of the trust agreement and the authors of and the co-authors of the Constitution. The government itself in its entirety is the trustee, and here's where the brother got it wrong in our opinion, or where we disagree. We say that over here that the government in its totality is the trustee, not the entire governance of the trust itself, because you need three parties. Our opponents are saying, and opposition is saying, no, the government is not fair. They're just doing it, and they don't need those three elements. We're saying they're using those three elements because it's basically their faith and their religious belief is where we're coming from. This is their religious belief, so they're going to follow it to a T. Now, in the Constitution, of course, the people are the beneficiaries. So there's your big three. In the Constitution, you have the founding fathers who laid out the blueprint for the Constitution and hammered out a Constitution, supposedly. Benjamin Franklin and Samuel Adams and other founding fathers laid out this Constitution. The government was created to govern the Constitution and enforce the Constitution, and the people are the beneficiary. Now, we're saying also along the lines of what in the conscious community are saying that the 14th Amendment citizen, because the argument is, well, how are the people benefiting from a law that's skewed the way it is? Well, it's protecting the people. Didn't say it was protecting the 14th Amendment citizen. The 14th Amendment citizen is subject to. The people are, the government supposedly works for the people. That's how it works. Well, who are the people? The people are the ones who are free. The people who are the ones who are not receiving the, per se, the benefit of the welfare, but the people, the government is protecting and enforcing the rights of the people to travel about the land, to eat upon the land, to breathe upon the land, to reproduce upon the land, and to just generally be left alone as long as they're not damaging anyone's property or committed murder on any individual host, any individual vessel about the land or sea. This is what it is. So, in theory, if one is performing with positive performance, moving in a positive direction, that's not to say that one doesn't do anything wrong or make any mistakes, but for the most part, in general, moving in a positive direction, with good performance is what's godly. Therefore, the law is there to protect that individual who is free, who is not being lazy and dependent upon the government services. When one signs on to that contractual agreement with the government, they're now have become and signed over their freedom to become subject to the crown. It's pretty much what it is. So the law itself, the actual law, is there, and it's hidden. Of course, they play games and make it seem like you're being protected by law. The reason why things go down the way they do, and a lot of, in the late of late, a lot of these unnecessary killings by, let's say, police officers, and the reason why they don't get charged is because of that very thing. You, as a 14th Amendment citizen, are subject to. When you come out of that, you, in theory, or supposedly, not in theory, but are, in actuality, supposed to be protected by the government, and the government is supposed to be working for the free man and woman. This is what it is. We're going to end it right there for now, because I'm not really feeling little tired. I'm not really feeling up to it right now, so we're going to get further into it, a little deeper into it a little later, make another video, and this is probably about a 20-minute video as it is now. So, that's about it for now. We'll come back again some other time and make another video, going a little deeper into what it is I'm talking about right here. But we are the AltLaws. That's AltLaws, AltLaws, not outlaws. The alternative law group is who we are, and we are here to make the people aware of what the actual law is. And if one is seeking remedy over here, we basically are utilizing the linear aspects of law in the Constitution. Any rate, over and out. Thank you for listening.